Hello and welcome to BlueTube, where we talk all things blue. And before I talk about anything else, I need to mention this. Finally, after 4 months into the season, I have gotten the Chelsea jersey, and the name, who else but the special one. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but yeah, so as a Christmas gift, finally got it. Very happy about that. And I know it's taken a while, but yeah. And also for the name, of course I needed to pay my respects to that man. But this video is not about that man. This video is about this man, about his first game as Chelsea manager, as the title says. And you guys will probably know this. We just, as of filming this, the game just ended. I think it's Everton Newcastle going on right now, and Arsenal Southampton is coming afterwards. So I don't know the scores to them at the time of recording. Of course, by the time you're watching this, those games would have ended. But I'm really just going to be talking about this. And we drew 2-2 against Watford at home, which, mixed reactions. That is the one way to say it. But, you know, on the face of the score, it's not such a bad result if you think about it, because Watford have been on a crazy run. Troy Deeney has scored 6 in 9 now. Ighalo, the other striker, has scored like 8 in 8 games or something crazy like that. Watford as a team have won 4 of their last 4 games prior to this. So they've been on quite a good run. In fact, they've just beaten Liverpool 3-0 last week. And Liverpool beat Leicester 1-0. So, you know, but to be fair, Liverpool are having kind of a slump if you take away this week's game. But anyway, so yeah, Watford are a good team. Chelsea, we've had better times. Of course, against Sunderland, we did show what we're capable of, and we had a really top-class performance. I'd say this game wasn't as good as that, wasn't as free-flowing, wasn't as possessive. And actually, speaking of possession, I remember in the first 11 minutes of that game, the possession stats showed up. We had something like 83% possession, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to get too cocky, but this is gonna be an easy game, you know. But of course, as with all football games, things change, and you know, Watford kind of grew into the game, and it was a really competitive game for a while until Diego Costa broke the scoreline. Diego Costa getting that goal. I actually can't remember how he scored on. Yeah, from the corner kick, yes. Willian's corners have been pretty good this game as well, I have to mention that. But we did get the goal, but then Matic, silly penalty to give away. Absolutely unnecessary. It was definitely a penalty, but unnecessary to give away. I don't know what Matic was thinking. It was just a handball. It was kind of dumb. But, you know, we conceded like that, but we came back. Diego Costa got that goal, and then we conceded, and then we drew 2-2. But I want to talk about a few things of this game. There's a lot to talk about, but I want to talk about what's that? Especially with Hiddink coming in, some of the more encouraging signs, and one of them is definitely Diego Costa. And in his pre-match notes, Guus Hiddink actually talked or wrote about Diego Costa and wrote that, you know, Diego Costa, I want him to score, I want him to make the runs to get the goals, to be a striker, a finisher, instead of doing other things on the pitch. That's what he mentioned, and that's exactly what he did today, and that's what I liked. And he did that in Sunderland as well, Diego Costa. He started to. The thing is, if you remember earlier on in the season, if you watched me or if you watched the games, if you remember, I was definitely talking about this. How Diego Costa never seems to be in the box. He's like afraid to shoot or something. He's always on the flanks of the box. He's always the one crossing the ball in. He's always trying to get involved in the midfield. He's never in the box. And then players like Hazard and Willian put in really good crosses, but no one's there to finish them. But against Sunderland, I don't know why I'm pointing at him, but Costa, against Sunderland and today, he's making good runs. And I think definitely the second goal that he scored today was a result of these runs, of these striker-like runs, these Drogba, I don't know if that's clear on camera, but that's Drogba right there with Abramovich there. But anyway, those kind of, you know, conventional striker runs that you make. And Diego Costa wasn't doing enough of that, which is, in my opinion, the biggest or one of the biggest reasons that he's not been getting goals. But now he seems to be doing that. Guus Hiddink seems to have, you know, told him, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to get involved in the midfield or the wings. You're going to stay as a striker, stay in that box, and finish chances that come to you. And that's very encouraging. And of course, he did get 2 goals today in this game. That's very encouraging as well. I think he's only had 2 or 3 goals prior to this game throughout this whole season. Something like that. Crazy, I know. But that's true. This game, he's got 2. He could have got 3, and I want to talk about that in a bit, but he got 2. Very, very happy, very, very encouraging. Let's talk about some of the other players. I feel like as a team, we weren't nearly as good as we were against Sunderland, but to be fair, we set the standards high. Against Sunderland, we were literally sensational. We were Barcelona-esque. It was incredible. But this game, especially Pedro and Oscar, they seem to especially Pedro disappeared. I feel like putting on Hazard and replacing him with Pedro was a good substitute. Oscar, he was kind of in there, but he was, because last week he was man of the match, I think. He was incredible. This game, he wasn't getting involved as much as he did against Sunderland, and as much as I'd like him to get involved, because we know how much of a good player that he is. Fabregas, I think he was decent, and actually this is something strange that I want to talk about. I thought Fabregas had a decent first half, but Guus Hiddink apparently thought not. It was 1-1 at halftime, and then after the break, Guus Hiddink substituted Fabregas for Mikel, and I thought that was a very, very strange change to make. Maybe Hiddink, we did concede a goal after that, and it was 2-1 to Watford for a while, so maybe Hiddink saw some defensive frailties in us, but I would have liked to see Fabregas stay, but you know what, Hiddink, he's new, he knows what he's doing. We did come back to get that second goal, and we should have really got a third. We could have got a third, I should say. Well, I'll get to that. But yeah, that was strange to see that. But Jonathan Mikel, he actually did a really good job, I think. And I like Jonathan Mikel. And this has been a debate that's been going on for the last how many years between Chelsea fans, whether we should keep Mikel or not. My stance has always been this and always will be this. We need him because he's a great squad player and he's great for closing out games. But also, in today's game, he showed that he's not only is he great defensively getting the ball, but he's also good at distributing it forwards. Not as good as Fabregas, but Mikel he's actually got a really good long ball on him, and he's got a really good one-touch play, so he can pass the ball around well as well. So I think he's a very good player. So there was that weird substitution. And another substitution, speaking of this, Hazard started on the bench today. Apparently he was still feeling some of the effects from that Leicester game, that injury. So he started on the bench today. He came on for Pedro, which I think Pedro should have come off. He didn't play a great game today. Now, but Hazard came on, and he received a great response from the fans. And I think it's good that the fans are moving on. Because that Sunderland game, myself included, I was still a bit salty. I was very salty about Mourinho sacking. It was, the raw emotion, because that was 3 days or 2 days after his sacking. And people were singing Mourinho's name, people were booing players off the pitch. This game, there was a lot more positive in the atmosphere. There was no booing at any player. Fabregas, Costa, Hazard, they all received a great reception. And I think that's great. Even though it sucks that Mourinho is gone, I think we as fans do need to move on. We got a new manager now. And I think it was a good sign to see the fans moving on as well. But speaking back on the game, I want to get to that point now. That third goal that I keep saying that we should have had, and that third goal was a penalty that we got. The score was 2-2. We could have made it 3-2. Hazard came on as a substitute, as I said, and doing his wizardry dribbling magic that he does, he got a penalty, and fairly so. He got a penalty, and I was screaming in my head, Hazard, take it. Because if Hazard takes that and he scores his 100th career goal, he ends his 26-game goal drought, which is absolutely insane, the longest drought that he's had in his career. And everything's good. And Hazard is confident and he's scoring goals again, and he's back on that score sheet. But Hazard didn't take it, and I saw that as a sign of weakness. I saw that as a sign of a lack of confidence, and I was very disappointed that Hazard didn't step up to take that penalty. I'm just gonna be honest here, guys. But also the second thought in my mind was, Diego Costa, take this. If you score this, you get a hat-trick. Who doesn't like a hat-trick? And seeing how Chelsea's season so far has been, imagine Diego Costa gets a hat-trick in this game. That'll completely be so symbolic of a revival, of a renaissance, a rebirth. A rebirth. I don't know how to speak. I thought that would be perfect. Diego Costa, stand up, take a shot, have a crack. You got 2 goals so far. You must be feeling confident, but he didn't stand up. And instead, Oscar comes up. And if you guys remember, To be fair, Oscar did score a penalty against Sunderland, and maybe the players, out of respect, handed it out to Oscar to give him the penalty. Of course, Oscar slipped, he missed. That's terrible. But I honestly was very confused at the time, and I still kind of am, about why Hazard or Costa didn't stand up to take the penalty. And I don't know. I think even if I was Oscar, I think I would have given that penalty to Hazard or Costa. Really, I think I would have, because they needed a lot more than Oscar does. You know, Oscar had a sensational game last week. He scored a penalty last week. Costa, but this game, Costa could have had a hat trick. Hazard could have ended his drought. You know, it could have been a great game, and you know, maybe I'm just sad because Oscar missed it. If Oscar scored it, maybe I wouldn't be saying this, because we would have won the game. I'd be very happy, but you know, that's one bit of the game that still, you know, meh. And actually, talking about the goals that we conceded, great transition. The first goal we conceded was a penalty, as I said. The second goal, you know, I feel like scorelines can be quite deceiving of a goalkeeper's performances. Because, you know, we conceded two. You would think, oh, Courtois, he's not that great, but eh. But firstly, the first goal was a penalty, and it had nothing to do with Courtois. He could have done nothing about it. And usually, players score penalties. But the second goal, it took like two deflections before it came to Courtois. So it was a very, very tough, so it's almost impossible save for him to make. So I don't blame him. I think Courtois is a brilliant goalkeeper. I still love him. But guys, I'm basically done. That's yeah. And actually, let's just talk about the defense. You know, I don't want to talk about it. There's nothing much to talk about, really. They weren't too bad, to be fair. I think they were a lot better. The defense has improved since Sunderland, because even though we won 3-1, the scoreline is deceiving. It was a very nervy game throughout the end of that match. But this game, it felt pretty solid. It felt like the momentum was always with us. Didn't really feel nervous about our defense or anything like that. So it was a great game. Could have been an amazing game if he scored that penalty to make it 3-2. But we didn't. Scores 2-2. Hiddink's first game, you know, not too bad. I have to say, that's not too bad. But Manchester United coming up in 2 days, or 1 day, whenever this video uploads. That's going to be a very, very interesting game. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Louis van Gaal, because he just lost 2-0 to Stoke. He said some very interesting things in the post-match press conference. Is he going to get sacked? Is Mourinho going to move to Manchester United? Who knows? It could end up being a very, very strange month for the Premier League. But you know what? I'll get to that later on. But so far, oh, by the way, I forgot to say this in the beginning of the video. Merry Christmas. What a guy. I forgot to say Merry Christmas. If you celebrate it, of course. If you don't, that's cool. I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling. I'm gonna end the video here. Guus Hiddink, first game, decent score. Looking forward to the match against Manchester United. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and stay blue.